Hello, students. Are you hungry yet? The last lesson we talked about breakfast, and I love breakfast. Breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. I can eat breakfast food for dinner also. I love it. And now I'm starting to get hungry. Right now it's 11:30 while I'm making this video and teaching this lesson. Almost lunchtime. I might have to go eat breakfast food for lunchtime. So we're on grammar focus. Adverbs of frequency. Frequent means nyoa. Adverbs that are frequent, we use them often. Another word is often. Adverbs that we often use, or adverbs that we use frequently. And so they're called adverbs of frequency. Words like always, usually, often, sometimes, seldom, and never. And so these are adverbs of frequently. They give us the idea of time, how often. Do we do it a lot? Do we do it some? We do it every time? And so these words are very helpful, very useful for us. And so I always eat breakfast. Do you ever have fish for breakfast? Yes, I always do. Sometimes I do. No, I never do. And so look far on the right and you see the words always, usually, often, sometimes, seldom, and never. And so always means 100% of the time, krupevalia. Never means atdalsa. And so the other words are in between. Look at this chart. Adverbs of frequency. So always means 100% of the time. Usually means maybe 90% of the time. Normally or generally means maybe 80% of the time. Often, frequently, means 70% of the time. Sometimes means 50% of the time. Occasionally, about 30%. Seldom, 10%. Hardly ever, rarely, maybe 5%. And never, none. And so you see from 100% to 0%, it gets less and less and less frequent, is how we say it. And so say these after me. Say these sentences after me. I always study after class. Always. You need the S. I always study after class. I usually walk to work. I normally get good marks. In American English, I normally get good grades. I often read in bed at night. I sometimes sing in the shower. I occasionally go to bed late. I seldom put salt on my food. I hardly ever get angry. Vegetarians never eat meat. All right, and so that's how we would use these adverbs of frequency. And if you look back on page 57, add the adverbs to the correct places. Then practice with a partner. For example, letter A, what do you usually have for breakfast? That's where we'd put it. What do you usually have for breakfast? Well, on Sundays, I often have eggs, bacon, and toast. That's where you put the word often. Well, on Sundays, I often have eggs, bacon, and toast. Do you ever eat breakfast at work? Do you ever eat breakfast at work? Sometimes I have breakfast at my desk. Sometimes I have breakfast at my desk. Sometimes, yes. Do you usually eat rice for breakfast? Do you usually eat rice for breakfast? No, I seldom have rice. No, I seldom have rice. Can you say these after me? What do you usually have for breakfast? Well, on Sundays, I often have eggs, bacon, and toast. Do you ever eat breakfast at work? Sometimes I have breakfast at my desk. Do you usually eat rice for breakfast? No, I seldom eat rice. Okay, let's look at page 58. There is pair work. This is still part of the grammar lesson, part B of the grammar lesson. Put the words in order to make sentences. Then rewrite the sentence with your own information. All right, I will just help you write the sentences. Number 1, I never have breakfast. I never breakfast on have weekends. And so you take the words are all mixed up. And so you make a sentence out of them. I seldom, excuse me. Number 1, I never have breakfast on weekends. Okay. Number 2, work, I, snacks, eat at seldom. So you take those words and you make them into a sentence. In fact, I'm going to have you do that. I think this is something that you can do for homework. I can tell you, but I think that you need to think. Okay, and so you take the words and you make a proper sentence out of them, all right? There's only 3 sentences. So I want you to do that for homework. I want you to write it down. Remember and tell me, page 58, grammar, part B, so I know where to look, intro book, because I have a lot of students that contact me on Telegram. All right, and so that's what I want you to do. This is your homework. Complete those 3 sentences. The words are all mixed up. You make a proper sentence out of them. And just real quick, this is pasta. You hear us talk about pasta. And pasta is a kind of noodles. But there are many different kinds of pasta. So you see spaghetti, lasagna, vermicelli, macaroni. And so you can just see them all different. But pastas are noodles. Okay, noodles can be made from rice, and noodles can be made from grain, different kinds of grains, wheat, for example. All right, and so these are, look, they all have all different kinds of shape, but these are noodles. These would not be rice noodles. These would be noodles that were made from different kinds of grain. I just thought I would show you that. All right, so that's the end of this lesson. Take a break, do your homework. 3 sentences, that's all. Send it to me in Telegram.